In this course, we are using screencasting, slides, text, and images, and we need to come up with a coherent style that ties these things all together in a harmonious way. Everyone has their own unique interpretation of what looks visually appealing, but your overall style needs to be consistent and it needs to suit your topic or your brand. If you create simple, consistent slides in the same style and fonts and with coordinated colors, it's less distracting for your student and speeds up your own work process. Your student needs to be able to grasp the point of an image very quickly, and they should be able to look at a slide and fully comprehend it in 10 seconds or less. So keep slide text brief by using bullet fragments rather than whole paragraphs. How the shapes in your design relate to each other can create harmony and unity, or they can create discord. So consider the placement and alignment of every element in your presentation. When you repeat similar shapes, it helps to create rhythm in your design. Use the same background or a coordinated background. The same heading font for each slide, and if you're using a different font for your body text, make sure that is also the same for each slide. Align objects to achieve balance, although that does not mean they must be symmetrical. These images could be a lot smaller to accommodate more text. You don't have to lay out your presentation exactly like this. There's nothing wrong with any of the layouts below, as long as you use the same layout for all your slides. But the text choices are definitely jarring. Being consistent is also the easiest and most flexible way to work inside ScreenFlow. Once you have a background slide and you've decided which colors and fonts to use, it's quick and easy to repeat. Insert your background. Insert the decorative element for that slide. Insert the image for that slide. Add a text box. Align it. Add your heading. Format it a bit if you want. And then add the rest of your text. For the next slide, extend your background, place your playhead at the beginning of your new slide, insert the decorative element for that slide, then the image for that slide, line them up nicely in the timeline, and then add your text. If you're designing slides to work in conjunction with a talking heads video, make sure the video does not cover any important information. An easy way to do this is to place a placeholder box on top of where the video will go. This is a personal thing, but I don't like to see talking heads on top of a screencast. It's hard to split your attention between the speaker and what's happening on the screen, and very often the action is obscured. Ask yourself if it is really necessary. Aim for an overall clean, balanced design. Simplify by removing elements and leave plenty of white space. We all know that without enough contrast, you can't really see where one thing ends and the next starts. So if you place text on top of a dark image, use light text, and vice versa. If your text spans a busy area with both light and dark, add a background to your text to make it readable. But you can also use contrasting colors or type weight or size to control the viewer's attention and get them to focus on the right thing. Any light object on a dark background is usually the first place the eye goes to, so plant your visual clues wisely. Even though my heading is the most important text on the screen, and it is the biggest, if there's no color contrast between the heading and the body text, and there's also something with a lot more contrast on the screen, your eye slips down to the thing on the screen with the most contrast. In this example, your eye is first attracted to the image on the left and then straight to the word highlight in the body text. Here, your eye moves to the subheading first because it is the biggest, and then the emboldened main points in the body text. You could add further contrast by using a different font for the heading than the body text. So now we know that your eye will be drawn to the largest text on the page unless something else has a lot more contrast, but the right fonts in the right size will improve readability. Within text itself, you get serif fonts that have tails on the ends, sans serif fonts that don't have tails, and then more decorative fonts that should only be used for signatures, logos, or fancy graphics because they are not that readable for video presentations. Sans serif fonts without tails are best for video because they're the most readable online, especially on mobile devices. The ones I use most regularly for headings are Helvetica, which is the most popular and common sans serif font. Liga Gothic is a great heading font if you have longer headings because it's very condensed, but may become hard to read if you use all caps. And then I use Myriad. If I wanted to use a serif font for a heading, I like Georgia best. And then Rockwell is an interesting font with a bit more of a slab serif look, and Garamond. My favorites for body text are Arial, which is boring but so recognizable that your student will not notice the font and they'll concentrate on the message, Calibri, and Corbel. But what about communicating the right mood to your students? Sometimes you want to set an old world mood or look a little more corporate, in which case you would use serif headings and pair them with sans serif font for your body text. This will look really cool as long as you stick to the same font throughout and don't introduce a third or fourth font for subheadings, etc. Here's what I mean about using simple, readable fonts. Say I'm teaching something really techno and I want a futuristic techno feel. Orbitron is a sans serif font that perfectly matches my theme, so it should look great, right? But you have to ask yourself how readable the font is in a presentation. The fonts you get in your drop-down menu will depend on what fonts you have in your Mac system. So you might see one or two here that I've bought to use in print books and you don't have. You don't need them. It's nearly always best to stick to simple open source fonts. Do have a look through what's available though. For extreme emphasis, I like Impact, which comes with ScreenFlow. In the next video, I'm going to show you a quick and easy way to choose colors for your project.